All right, so today we're going to be going through our NOS Energy Nissan Z demo car that we take out to all the Grid Life events, and we're going to show you just what it takes to get this vehicle prepped up to go on tour for up to 6 rounds. We're going to revise the cooling system a little bit to try and be able to run the car even longer and even harder, and ideally make a little more power this year.
We are close, and next Wednesday you guys have an update as we are closing in.
In this video, you're going to see the frustrations of working on race cars.
Freaking epic. Hey, bud.
Finally have a real steering rack in this thing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So Howie lengthened up our steering shaft in here because this car actually did not have the rack forward mod. So can't really see it, but the rack is pushed forward in the subframe, and so then the steering column actually didn't reach any longer. So now we have the proper solution for it. So we took this steering shaft and actually cut it, lengthened it. This is the old one. So here's our old one that you can see was milled down and then slid into the sleeve of the factory style steering column. And then this is the piece that goes down to the knuckle. So yeah, it's nice to see that kind of coming all the way together and having a proper solution. So now that we have it out, you can see the difference. This is the old one, right? It's sitting up on here, and we're now 2 inches longer from the old column to the new column. And yeah, we got that turned down, and then just fits right in there. And we weld that together, we're back to one piece.
Cool.
Looking good. Right, Howie's making good progress on the demo car, so he's gonna jump in, help for kind of finalizing it. He's got motor all together with Jackson and getting it all back in, mounted up, getting the plumbing hooked up. So he's gonna come in for the final stretch and kind of help check everything out from what I remember when we built this car. Yeah, we're just changing a couple little things as we have a couple new provisions in place and trying to get everything fitting very nicely. So that being said, we're gonna get the intake tubes on next. We're kind of working our way up from the bottom. Howie's got the hot pipes on there, and then get the intakes in, which kind of come down and around here. We get some fresh cold air through here, through the wheel well. And then we'll get the cold pipes up top, finish hooking up all the wiring, get some fluids, get a couple things, give her a fire. Auto sporting, are we getting some underglow on there? Oh, big question. All right.
No comment.
Getting these guys fitted up. All this wiring runs back across the front once the bumper goes in for the headlights. But yeah, just getting the last couple of bits. We need a couple hose clamps on this intake still. I don't know where they are. All right. All right. That's what I meant by that. Pipes. To let you know that we have an all new shirt drop going down. We got the little Benny inspired Forsberg Racing tee. So make sure to go and check out the link below and you can get these shirts while they last. We made a small run of them, but we have them in short sleeve and long sleeve now, which is a new addition. We normally don't do long sleeves, but so yeah, make sure to check them out. There's still a little bit of chill in the air where you might need two versions. So check it out, our little Benny kitty cat on the new Forsberg Racing shirt. Loving it. So now at this point, we know we don't have spark. We're trying to look down through the hole because you should be able to see in that little window where the timing teeth are and if we're in the right spot on the rotation, and we can't quite confirm it. We basically decide to pull it inside, rip this transmission out, and double check, because Jackson says he knows he put on the right spot in the little keyed pin homing center when he first put it together, but then double checking the input shaft and making sure that the pilot bearing has the right depth on it. We don't have any contact issues. He had to take the flywheel back off. He's like, I may not have put it back on in the right spot. And so put up on the lift, and now we're tearing it down to figure out exactly where the flywheel is. This has happened to me in the past because there's just this little pin on the back of the crank that actually fits into a hole in the flywheel to make sure this mistake doesn't happen. However, this pin tends to break off, especially if you don't see it and you go to fit the flywheel on there. You can snap it right off and then you can put it in any direction. And so I'm doing quick math. Seb is telling me that we're 44 degrees off on our timing. 44 times 8 is basically 360, right? So like 44 and change, right? Point something, something, something. It equals out to just about 360. So my thought is, okay, we are one tooth of the 8 bolts that hold the flywheel to the crankshaft off. That is approximately 44 and change degrees. Throw it up on the lift, pull the transmission out, and we get down to the flywheel, and of course, it's in the right spot. Kind of annoying, because now we don't actually know what's going on. So at this point, still going through the car, I had to head out, but Jackson stayed back with the car to work on a little bit more with Seb until they closed up at 6 o'clock. Right at the end of the night, he found out, because this wiring harness has been modified to work from the stock ECU to be powered by the PDM. One of the little things that did not get noted and was overlooked when it went back together is that there's 2 eyelets that come off of the factory wiring harness that run down to the PDM. And one of them is power and one of them is ground. However, being that they are both the same length and have a similar eyelet ring at the end of it, it got missed and overlooked, and they both were on ground, which you would think that would be the case. But one of them actually had to be to power. So put it to power. Now we got juice. Now we got a car that runs. So they put the one back to power because now, after checking the rings, and we don't have the timing and everything else, and we go through, found out it was in the right spot on the flywheel, found out that one of the key factors of the ECU pinout was not getting 12 volts, figured out what that wire was. It was one of those eyelet rings, put it to the PDM, boom, we're in business. Now we got power, now we got a running car. So all is good, right? Car fired, I'm stoked, feeling great. It was like end of the day, and you know, get the call from Seb and Jackson. They're like, car's running, sounds great, but you know, we kind of want dyno in the morning, right? Because it's already like end of the day for them, and it's Monday, we're not in a rush, we don't have to be till the track till Friday, right? So we're like, yeah, let's dyno in the morning, want to make sure, you know, get a good night's sleep. You guys have been working on today, so make sure we're 100%. Seb gets in there Monday morning, and this thing has developed quite a loud knock. So this knock, this clack, we've had this happen to us in the past. It is essentially the VTC solenoid, right? So it's the front cap. It gets fed oil pressure. It goes down into the cam gear pulley that is what operates the VTC, which is the big cam gear that moves the cam back and forth to give you the variable timing. When you don't have that, it usually just locks itself open one way or the other. We've had it happen to us in the past. Formula Drift 2023, we lost our VTC and we had to run with it unplugged against Matt Field, and we're doing one more times, and basically like we're losing like 200 pounds of torque because the cam is just wide open. And so we're losing like 200 pounds of torque in the mid-range and a bunch of turbo spool. So everything is just lagged up. So I know it's important to have this working, even if it's for our demo car, the hot pit car, still important to have it running. And also it could be catastrophic to run it for a duration of time without it operating correctly, right? So he pulls the cover off, and the first thing we see is there's all these score marks. That's right, well, that's not good. So this is where things start to unfold. Notices the score marks. We're trying to figure out how to get new cam gears, trying to figure out if we can realign that, because we actually use an eccentric cam cover on our race car to ensure that it's always dead center. We don't have any off-center seals failing, which is what happened to us at that Long Beach event. I don't think anybody makes these for the VQ, so we're talking about egging the holes out and just getting it to the line a little more centered and have it not drag. And so we're working through all these factors, and then fire back up, the noise is gone. So we're back in, right? All is good until, so it's just this roller coaster of emotions, and I'm trying to just like, you know, it's in the best hands, which is Seb at Specialty Z. He knows these engines inside and out. And he's also talking to Clark down at Jim Wolf, who knows these engines even better than anyone on the planet, I would say. He's like the VQ master. And so they're running by the different scenarios with them, and we're sharing the things that have happened to us in the past with our VQs and our VRs, which has been similar to this problem. And what happens is if a machine shop machines too much material off of the head and they don't compensate it correctly with the right thickness head gasket, the head gets too close, and when the head comes in too close, that hole is now moving, right? Where this little cam plunger needs to go into that cam gear. So if it's just a few hundred thousandths off center, you're gonna get that drag. So we're working on trying to get recentered, but the noise is gone. So we're like, okay, like we're back in. Like maybe it was just that, you know, had to get the oil pressure built up. You know, it is a new motor, a bunch of new parts, so that can happen. Had a little air pocket, something, right? Trying to get that solenoid all filled up because it hasn't moved itself, because we haven't revved it past 3,000 RPM. So that was kind of our thought at first. We're shooting from the hip at this point. And so the noise comes back, and Seb decides to pull it back off. He still sees that it's scoring, and then he is like, let's do an oil change, and we're gonna figure out how to change his cam gears to hopefully get rid of this drag, right? As he drains the oil, he sees some material. And so I see material in the oil pan, or in the oil drain. It's not good. Yes, when you build new engines, you will get like some material, like, you know, a little bit of the coatings of things coming off, and everything kind of like finding its home. But this seemed excessive. So he then pulls the oil pan, and then we have this. And now we got shrapnel in the oil pan. It's clearly too much. And so then we think back about when we're first trying to start the engine up and how hard it was for it to turn over. So I think something just wasn't clearance right, something was dragging, something was an issue, and it failed, right? So all that being said, I mean, it's a huge bummer. It happens. This is not the first time we've had an engine die on, you know, the racing program, but it was a big letdown because it was, you know, freshly built motor. We're just trying to get it going, let alone missing out on round one of hot pit. So Jackson was bummed, I was bummed, but you know, it's just kind of what happens. And so we're trying to see, like, I have another engine that's being built, but there was no way it was going to get done in time. And so basically just have to hang it up and, you know, wait for the next engine to finish and go for round two. You know, that's all you can do. But the event looked rad. Tons of heavy hitters were out there, like the Shanahans were out there. Combo Hand, Rome, Charpentier, he ended up winning the event. So a lot of heavy hitters running in these local events now, which is pretty wild, which is why they're now giving out a Pro 1 license to the champion at the end of the season. So my question is, though, if you have a Pro 1 license and you win the championship, does it go to the next guy, or does it just get voided? So I guess that's a question for Jeff Jones. But anyway, in the end, you know, here we are. We'll get it fixed. We're gonna get it back together. In the end, it's part of racing. It totally sucks, but we're gonna get it fixed. We're gonna get back out there. At this point, now it's full force FD car. We got the WiseFab Full Lock Fest coming up this Saturday. It's gonna be our first outing with the Pro car, and it'll be my first time ever drifting on a full WiseFab fitted car from our fleet. So definitely excited for that. Excited to get out and get our first laps in of the year, 2025, in the all new Z with WiseFab front and back, some new BC Racing XR coilovers, and we also got some new Garrett prototype turbos that we're going to be trying out, which are the new G Series G25s. They actually are now capable of making 700 horsepower each. So we went from the G25 660 up to the G30 770, then down to the G30 660, which is what we ran last year, and now we're going to try the G25 700. So we're looking for more response, more spool, and now we have different suspension, stronger coilovers from BC. So it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be a good year. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Going out to the track on Saturday. I'm geared up for a Formula Drift coming up in like 3 weeks. So it's coming up fast. See you guys there. Thanks for watching.